What is malaria? Malaria is one of the most serious diseases on earth, affecting over 207 million people every year. Of the 600,000 people, many of them children, who die from malaria each year, over 90% live in sub-Saharan Africa. Malaria has serious impact not only on the health of individuals, but on communities and economies as well.
The economic impact of malaria is actually very, very big. In Africa alone, it costs the continent around $12 billion a year. And this comes about in terms of economic loss due to people being sick and not being able to produce. If you have your child, for example, who is sick, you'll not be able to go around with your usual work to be productive. And therefore, this is like a very big burden to the economy of endemic African countries. However, if you look also at a global level, if you take a malaria map and you take an economic prosperity map, the malaria map would fit very well with poor countries. We think that really these countries are poor partly because of this malaria disease, because people are not as productive as they should be.
But the good news is that malaria is both preventable and treatable. Armed with the knowledge in this program, you will be able to protect yourself and your family from malaria. This program will answer the following questions. What is malaria? How does malaria spread? And what can be done to help fight malaria? What is malaria? Malaria is an illness caused by a parasite that gets into the body through a mosquito bite. A parasite is a very tiny organism that lives in another organism called its host. In the case of malaria, the parasite switches off between mosquito and human hosts. The mosquito, which carries the malaria parasite into humans, is referred to as a vector. The malaria parasite attacks a person's body from the inside, making them sick. Dr. Stephen Magesa is a scientist working on malaria vector control in Tanzania.
There are so many types of mosquitoes, but apparently malaria is being transmitted by one particular group of mosquitoes called the Anopheles. There are quite a number of Anopheles species in this world, but just a few that do transmit malaria. And in Africa, we have probably the most efficient malaria vector, the Anopheles gembi, and its siblings.
Of the 200 million cases of malaria reported worldwide, most are in Africa. Many tropical and subtropical areas of the world, where 1.2 billion people live, suffer from malaria.
The people who are most at risk at malaria would be the people who live in those areas we call endemic areas, where there are mosquitoes and also malaria parasites circulating in those areas. And these areas that are at risk would include up to around 97 countries in this world where malaria transmission occurs. This is tropical area where you're having temperatures something above 25 to 27, where you have the best survival of malaria mosquitoes and also slightly higher humidity, because this is very good for the survival of mosquitoes.
When a mosquito carrying the malaria parasite bites a person, the parasite can get inside, carried by the mosquito's saliva through the tiny hole that bite makes in the person's skin to the blood vessels. When the malaria parasite gets inside of a person, it starts to grow and attack the health of the body. When the body is under attack, it is called an infection. malaria can be very dangerous. If the disease is not treated with medicine, it can get much worse and even cause death.
The most vulnerable population would be pregnant women, because when they are pregnant, their immunity is sort of suppressed, and also children, particularly those under the age of 5 years.
It is especially important for pregnant women to take preventative measures against malaria because the infection can be harmful to her unborn baby, and the newborn child. Moms who are sick have babies that are too small, and small babies are more likely to get sick. In some cases, the child can be born with malaria and need immediate treatment.
When we talk of malaria, to me, it's about a human life. We are losing children. It is actually parents losing their own children. So it is very, very important for them to be concerned and take action against malaria.
This is why it is crucial for mothers to seek support from their local maternal and child health clinic before their baby is born. How is malaria spread? The illness or disease called malaria is caused by a parasite. A parasite is an extremely tiny organism that attacks the cells inside the body. The malaria parasite is an enemy cell called Plasmodium. Each Plasmodium is so tiny that it can only be seen through a microscope. Because the parasite is so small, we cannot see it just by looking. This animation created by computers represents what malaria looks and acts like in the human and mosquito hosts. In order for the malaria parasite, represented here by the tiny yellow worm-like shapes, to be harmful to humans, it must first live inside a mosquito host, like the one seen here. Before entering the human body, these Plasmodium parasites live inside an infected mosquito. Not all Anopheles mosquitoes carry the parasite, but many in tropical and subtropical areas do. When a carrier mosquito bites a person to drink their blood, they make a tiny hole in the skin to drink blood from the blood vessels. While the mosquito drinks the blood, the malaria parasite travels through the hole and inside the person. At this point in the life cycle of the malaria disease, the human becomes the host organism. Once the parasite is inside the body, it can grow in the blood and attack the infected person from the inside. Malaria attacks the body and can make a person feel very ill. The parasite travels through the bloodstream to the liver, where blood is filtered and cleansed. The liver is where the malaria parasite exits the bloodstream and enters the liver cell. While inside the liver cell, the parasite begins to multiply, making copies of itself so that it can spread throughout the human host body. Bursting out of the liver, the newly created parasite copies enter the bloodstream again, where they seek out and invade healthy red blood cells. Here, the parasite is not detected by the body's immune system or defense mechanism to fight disease and illness. The parasite uses the red blood cell as shelter to multiply and create even more copies of itself, destroying the red blood cell in the process. Eventually, the red blood cell bursts and sends the new parasite into the bloodstream. At this point, a person infected with a malaria parasite feels very ill and begins to experience fever. When a person is infected with malaria, he or she not only feels ill, but can pass the